clumsy. It's late.
That you cannot find qualified blacks. You can't find.
Labouring a little. Ashley Cole, we know, is labouring as well, so the left back position is a mildly vulnerable one for Chelsea right now. Ashley Cole not even on the bench today. Peter, you could come on for Azpilicueta and see the game out comfortably. Thanks. I'm not entirely sure that's true, but I like the thought. Maybe you could. Late for that. Ivanovic. Luis. By Sanya. Get up to and beyond halfway, which is a principal release for Arsenal. Teta. Rosicki. Mourinho's technical area still encouraging his players to get tight, to push up, to allow Arsenal to come into him. Jenkinson. They made a very good burst initially when that move was developing for Arsenal. Jenkinson down the right hand side, he wasn't played in. To escape Ivanovic. Actually, trying to do the same thing again now with the assistance of Rosicki. Pretty well untroubled afternoon to this point. Well, those guys at the back will have a certain amount of pride as well. Whatever their position, their dominant position here in terms of the scoreline, they want another clean sheet. Meanest defence in the league. They want to certainly keep that in place. 13 going on 14. Arsenal also kept.
This catches Arsenal's first corner. Yeah, supporters.
Two.
Rather win it. Wasn't really worth waiting for. It's a lovely touch from Hazard. Schürrle didn't maximise it.
And you know what, if he had taken it, there's a good chance he was going to get away from Jenkinson and again have a run deep into opposition territory. And in the end, he gets his free kick for that. Good push. First London derby away from the Emirates that Arsenal have slipped up in this year. They simply slipped up spectacularly. They won away at Fulham, Palace, West Ham and Spurs. Giroud. Anything like that is a help for Arsenal now. And he was a bit too handy there, very clever. All over the Frenchman. Arteta, I just wonder if it's going to be a dink or
He's going to be a bit more adventurous.
Another take one step up the wicket and put it back over the bowler's head. He didn't. Tata protecting it from Sherlock. Forward by Sanya. So I think, Jim, there are fewer Arsenal supporters in the second half than there were in the first. Fewer empty seats. It's a terrible crush to get to Fulham Broadway Tube Station after a Chelsea home game. Might as well beat the rush when you 4-0 down.
Yeah, understandable. I thought maybe one or two were just a little late in retaking their positions, but no, I think there have been a few departures. Yeah, no doubt.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
He's over away. Rosicki can have a run here. He's got Giroud up in front of him. Still outnumbered 3-2 here.
7, 8, 9,
4-2 and then 5-2. That's Piliqueta with the tackle.
10.
And Giroud will be a
If
little
you-
annoyed as well because he made the move from out to in the hope of giving Rosicki an option.
Lloris
If
has a super
you-
goal on Sherlock.
Offside. I wonder about that one. He's been caught offside 2 or 3 times, Sherlock, and he's really frustrated with that one because he was away. Well, I think when you look at the cuttings on the pitch, I think he's level.
He ought to get the benefit of that. Just once in a while, the assistant referees step out of the shadows and become the central figures, and this certainly happened to a greater and lesser extent today. Giroud. Here from Flamini, now Cazorla.
No, he's on ball, but it was on the thigh from Matic.
Intercepting Matic's pass.
Jenkinson had to turn back there because there was just nothing in front of him. That's good play.
Cazorla. Rosicki. Arteta. Sanya. The other two here. Here's Stevanovic, out by Luis. Rosicki. Cazorla. Pretty close.
Yeah, better from Arsenal. I mean, we'll give them a little encouragement. And there's obviously a plan to get behind the ball and then just commit in numbers if they get a chance to break. Nice little feed in, but again, the angle is against them, and you're going to have to come up with something a bit special to beat Czech.
A bit of spirit, and that is what Arsenal supporters would expect. It is on for the team, Jim, which is so good. In the face here of Mourinho, who's having such a leisurely afternoon now, has this kind of afternoon in it. What is it with Arsenal? Why 6 at Man City? Why 5 at Liverpool? Why can't they deal on the one-off with Stoke, offside against Torres?
Well, I think there've always been questions as to kind of their mentality, their toughness, their stubbornness in this type of fixture. I just think tactically they're just set up really poorly today, and I'm surprised at that. The defence playing high, no closing down, not enough work rate across midfield to press the ball, and then they were just basically asking for Chelsea to put them in a bad position, and Chelsea obliged.
Sanya. Zola. Rosicki.
from Cahill. So I think, Peter, if you look back, I mean, it depends how you judge success as well, how you assess it. But Arsene Wenger
Once
has been
again.
incredibly consistent. I mean, he's won many things. Yes, in an earlier spell, but I think maybe he's had a fixation with the kind of the technical little players. And there's Torres. Oscar! Yeah. Well, I think Torres has actually played quite well. I mean, he's done some nice stuff. His footwork has been quite good. And he always has that willingness to run beyond like this. But he had to just kind of keep that alive. And in finding Oscar, it was almost kind of the slower ball that he almost deceived Szczesny with. And it's central, and you can get fingertips to it and help it on its way. Obviously not credited for a save by the officials. The kick was given. No, but I was just saying to you before, Peter, I think maybe Arsene Wenger, he's lacked that winning team, that kind of winning mentality, because he's gone for the beautiful game. He's gone for purists and that type of football, as opposed to kind of the physical specimen that he once had in his side. Like
One.
the Vieira's, the Batiste, the Hughes, the Adams.
2, 3,
And family.
three, 8,
So to take, Mertesacker has come forward together with Vermaelen from the back.
4,
By Arteta.
5, 6,
And he was closest to it, but didn't make anything like pure contact.
7,
No, I don't think he was expecting it. I mean, he won the free kick as well, and he should have got something more on the end of it.
8,
So his challenge at the back.
8, 3,
Hazard.
Happy Woman Days.
Monovic, Torres, Oscar. Hazard. So there's stood his ground.
It's a lovely ball in, you know. He should be getting more on that. You know, it's fallen beautifully on his head, and he just comes up with a pool.
Oscar yielded it to Giroud, who saw the goalkeeper off his line.
That goes down as a shot on target. I know it was never going to get past Petr, but it was good awareness by Giroud to spot it in the first place. He was off his line.
Small mercies. Oscar. Hazard. As a Chelsea supporter, I'd feel shortchanged if I didn't see a second half goal.
Well, you might get it from Mohamed Salah, because it looks like he's coming on very shortly, and it would seem a very good game to introduce him in.
Oscar.
It was due, overdue. No surprise. Deeper and deeper the Arsenal mire.
4,
Broader and broader the Chelsea smile. And he'll be pleased, Oscar, to stay on long enough, because I think he was the one that was going to make way for Salah. I just think Szczesny gets this one wrong. It bounces in front of him. It's not the fiercest shot. He's tried to place it. I think the goalkeeper should save it. Yes, he's used Flamini as a little shield, but that's not great goalkeeping from the pole. And he could have prevented it from going to 5.
Well, Arsenal scored 5 on this ground a couple of seasons ago. Robert Van Persie's hat-trick. Chelsea now have a handful against the Arsenal. And it was Oscar's last kick of the ball. The substitution had already been planned. If the ball had gone out, a second or two prior to him dispatching that shot, he would never have had the opportunity to score his second and Chelsea's 5th. As it is, he goes off with joy in his heart to be replaced by Mohamed Salah, third Premier League appearance for the Egyptian from Basel. Of course, he scored here for Basel a couple of times, Champions League and Europa League last year. Start the car. Match number 1001 against Swansea at home on Tuesday. So before the game, if you'd been given choice of venue to celebrate a 1000th game, certainly choice of immediate opponent, I would have thought that Chelsea away against Mourinho would come at the very bottom of his list. Matic. Torres. Hazard. Luiz, why not? Chesney's behind it, Torres going in, Chesney just about grabbed it back.
Yeah. Maybe a little fortunate to be able to get there at the second attempt, Chesney. Maybe should have held that. But it's been that kind of game that Luiz and Matic at times can just back the play up and just look to have a pop. Took a little knock, didn't he, Oscar, in the first half, Peter? But I don't really think it was bothering him that much. I think it's just someone else's turn. Exactly. I think Salah, you know, it's the perfect occasion to bring him in.
Quick too, isn't he? He could really rip into a tired, dispirited Arsenal team.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm sure that Arsenal defence are aware of that. The last thing they'll want now is for the Egyptian to get it at his feet and start running at them. 5-0 down, totally demoralised. We just want to get out of here. And if he gets going, it could be trouble. And Chesney, you know, again bounced in front. I thought he should have held that. I think it's sloppy. I think he's lost a little concentration too. And he's fortunate to be able to get there second time round.
So in terms of the title team, this is Arsenal done for, is it?
I think pretty much. I really do, because I mean, psychologically, this is pretty damaging too. Look, you know, they've got a very good chance of beating Swansea. They've got their own problems, of course, in reply to this. And then Manchester City is a huge game thereafter. But yeah, I think this takes a big toll.
And what they must do, of course, in terms of the Champions League dynamic, I don't think there's any danger of them dropping out of the top four, but they must make sure it's third and not fourth. That's going to be a competitive area. Avoid that slippery playoff at the end of August, which can go wrong. But we didn't have to be a brilliant football prophet to see it potentially coming. We were all talking about it at the start of February. I think Crystal Palace
One,
February,
two,
and then went into this horrendous run. It was always going to be decisive one way or another, this horror run of fixtures, and they lost horribly at Anfield, and they couldn't win at home to Manchester United. The FA Cup went okay, Bayern Munich came and went. Yes, they beat Sunderland, but Stoke was a nasty, handicapping defeat. And then last week's win at Spurs was uplifting, but essentially, in Premier League terms, it was 7 points out of 15 going into this, and it's getting worse. And Salah is onside here. What a start! What a lot of reasons to believe Chelsea could be champions. Well, there's one way to introduce yourself. Mohamed Salah is third Premier League appearance for Chelsea. He's been on a second, he's scored a goal.
That's classic Mohamed Salah as well. Onside when it's played. Arsenal again defending ridiculously high. It's something they started with. Suicidal for me. But it's brilliant running from the Egyptian. And he's still got a lot to do here. He's got to compose himself, pick a spot.
10,
and he does that expertly. And the last thing, as we said, the Arsenal defence would have wanted was to see him running in behind. Well, it's happened. And more enjoyable touchline too.
15.
Get a feeling that Mourinho's joy there was a very specific joy in the heart of one of his newest acquisitions, Mohamed Salah. He's only 21, around the fringes now, but one who will grow into his Chelsea shirt. Had played prior to this 12 minutes against Newcastle, the last minute at West Brom, and the second half of an FA Cup tie at Manchester City. He's come on here for his longest Premier League show.
but the most difficult is how to move the people from the